Hello everyone, welcome to Misty's Fibre Dreams. This video is a tutorial on making the Frog Prince plushie. The pattern is available on Etsy in Fibre Dreams by Misty. The tutorial is in 3 parts as I show you detail step by step how to make your own frog prince. This video is part 1, the construction of the frog's body. So without further ado, I'll get straight into it. Hope you enjoy making your frog prince. So once you've selected your fabrics, one for the skin colour of the frog, his chest and the bottom of his body, you cut out your rectangles to the sizes given in the pattern and place them on the grain of your fabric and cut 2 out of each one for front and back bodies. Next step is pinning your pieces together. What we're going to do is pin bottom edge of the top to the top edge of the chest and then sew across, either by hand using a back stitch or the sewing machine using a 1.50 length stitch. I'll go away and do that and I'll come back. Press the seam towards the centre chest and place down right side up again. So take your body piece, flip it right sides to right side onto the chest, pin, using the 5mm 1/8 of an inch seam, sew across, sewing them together. Make sure you do put a knot on either end of your seam so that when you're stuffing it, it's not going to come apart on you. Once you've done that, press it and get on with the second one. I'll come back when I've done that. So once you've sewn your 2 pieces of fabric, your front and back, you need to now transfer the shape of the head and body onto your piece ready to sew. So wrong side up on one that you've chosen to be, and then line up the leave open sections with the chest material and the seam lines. So my seam lines are here and here, here and here. So I'm putting my leave open there. Make sure you've lined it up so it's straight to the edge. Just mark off where your leave opens are, just in case you get excited and go past. And then get to the sewing machine and realise that you haven't marked them out. Well, it's just me that does these things. So if you hold the top and the bottom, press and follow the line of the pattern all the way round. So I've marked out the sewn line on the back of one of the body fabrics, and I'm going to line them up ready to pin together. So carefully line up the 2 chest fabrics, because that's where the important sections are. So pin in there. If these are right, everywhere else is right no matter what. So again, line up and pin. So for this, I'd use a 1.0 sewing machine stitch length, or if you're doing it by hand, a small back stitch. So I'll be back when I've sewn it. So I used a 1.0 stitch on the sewing machine, as you can see. I made sure that I knotted at each point on either side of the leave open for the arms and the leave open for the legs. The next thing I'm going to do is just to take the excess off around the rounded edges and on the inside here of the eye. So here I've cut to the corners. I've used the pinking shears on the linen because it frays so easily, and I just cut off the corners here at the bottom of the body. Everything else will be fine when you turn it the right side out. So I'm going to go in through an arm area, and I'm going to go to an opposite corner, put the slide the work into the end of it, and then pull back out. So can you see the creases? When I pull, I get a crease. When I pull, I get a crease, like so. And then you can then gently pull by hand, just getting started. So what I'm doing now is I'm just teasing the chest area out. And now here comes the body. So I'm pulling that part that way and grabbing hold of that with my fingers. I'm going to get hold of my hemostats now and just prise things out. So get in there, pull it out, in there. So now we can go back in with the hemostats or a pencil. Something wooden is better. The hemostats are great, but because of the metal tip, sometimes they will go through a seam. So just this is a dowel on a handle that I made in work. So gently just press out the seam, press out the seam, press out the seam, like that. Back up to the eye, and just gently with your pencil or wherever else, knitting needle, choose a plastic one, and over the size 10 would be a good idea. Once you've turned them right side out, you can go back over the seams and just roll and press, finger press, roll, press in those areas where the seam allowance will be inside the body, which is here and on the legs. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to give it a light press with the iron, because my linen's quite wrinkly. The next step is to put the marking out for the embroidery for the features onto here. So two main things is you line up the edge of there with the edge of the chest fabric, and obviously you line up here between the eyes and along the side seams. Fix-on pen, and twist into the holes to make sure the markings, oh, missed that one, make sure the markings are there. So before you move it, just check you've got them, and then join them. Okay, so next job is to make the arms and the legs, and I will see you there. The arm and the legs are made exactly the same way, same process. So if I go through just doing one arm, then you can then replicate that on the second arm and the two legs. So here we have the rectangle for the arm, and the first job we're going to do is fold each of these fabrics. If you've got a right side or a wrong side to them, then fold the right sides together. I think I'll choose this as my right side and fold in half, just gently, finger press and a couple of pins just to hold it while you're marking out. And then, as you can see on the pattern, you need to put this straight edge onto the fold of your fabric. So line up, leave yourself your seam allowance enough in the seam line so it doesn't split. Make sure you do that, and then again just pin in place like so. So next, get your mechanical pencil and again draw around the edge. And on this here, we're going to leave this open, so the sewn line will come straight down. This will be enough of fabric to sew into the body as well. So mark it off at the end, but cut it straight down. The instructions are in the PDF there. And take it to the sewing machine and I'll be back. Cut your seam allowance to about 1/2 centimetre, 1/8 of an inch. So just clip around the curve like that, and then where the middle of the hand is, just clip off the corner. To turn out the smaller parts like the arms and the legs, I use this method. In a thinner needle with a sharp point is a doubled over strand of buttonhole thread. Make a knot on the end and sew into the hand part of the arm, just a couple of stitches. Or just one. No, I'll do 2. Right at the tip of the hand. Take it out of that needle and put it into a blunt ended needle with a big eye. And pass it through into the arm itself, just at the sewing line. Bring that down and out. And pull the thread through. To get started, pinch each side to open it up and tuck that end into the space you've created. Hold and give the thread a pull. Hold So I'm holding at the seam and tugging the thread, which is secured to the hand end of the tube. So this part has to be done in small steps. Excuse my fingers, I've been dyeing thread with walnut ink. I'm picking up with my nails, the creases. So holding there and pulling, hold. The hard bit is just getting it started. And then on this end, because that sewing was on the inside, we can just trim it off. Gently, gently running the tip of your pencil or whatever you're using along the seam. And then, no, I'm happy with that, because once you stuff it, all will be more shape. You can come back when I've completed the two legs and the other arm. So just some hints and tips on stuffing your arms and your legs. So at the ends of both arms and legs, I've stuffed quite firmly at the end. On the hand, it's approximately 2 centimeters worth, and on the foot, it's approximately 1.5 centimeters long. So the width for the hand at the end is approximately 1 centimeter, and the foot 1 centimeter. Then on the arm, I've lessened out the stuffing to about 7 centimeters towards the end, 3 inches. So this part will be inside the body, so we don't want any stuffing in there. So the leg, I wanted it to be quite flexible, so that's quite loose there. And again, I've stopped stuffing, and the whole length of the leg that's stuffed is approximately 9 centimeters. Or 3.5 inches. I've done that for both of them. To mark out the placement of the fingers on the hand, line up your paper pattern with the fold on the seam line. Using an erasable pen, transfer the marks from the top of the pattern onto the fabric of the hand. To shape the fingers, have 2 strands of thread in your needle with the knot on the end. Go into the hand anywhere and out through the bottom of one of the markings for the fingers. Pull so that your knot buries into the stuffing. Pull your thread over the top and with your needle go in from the back to the front and pull, shaping the finger. To lock off, do a second stitch into the back and out to the front. To get to the next finger, go back in where you came out, bring the needle under the fabric and out to the next mark line and repeat. Thread over the top, needle in from the back to the front and pull. For the thumb section, the line is a diagonal. So you come out at the front and lay the thread diagonally over the edge and repeat, coming through to the front and giving it a tug. To finish off, go back in the end of your diagonal line and come out at the seam and give it another tug for further shaping. And then we just need to lock off the stitch. So if you go into the hand through the seam, do a loop knot, pull it tight, back in the seam again, through to the other side and pull, and then you can cut off your thread. To the other hand, join them together by overlapping for about 1 centimetre and sewing them together to make one long arm. Next job is to get on with the flippers. Cut 4 of them so that you've got 2 for each leg. Then you want to get yourself some thread, just a single strand, knot on the end, hide the knot and start at one of the long edges. So the knot goes inside. So one of the long edges rather than the short. We're going to leave one of the short edges open. So we are going to use a blanket stitch to go around the outside edge. So thread over, in with your needle, through the loop and pull, not too hard, and go all the way around the edge. All the way around on both feet, and I'll come back. and then just finish off with a couple of back stitches and through the loop as a knot. The next job is to fit the flipper onto his leg. I'm just squishing it out so that it stays more rounded. And push his foot in the bottom of his leg. That's pushed in centimetre, which is 3/8. And just put a little pin in, because the other side will move when you're sewing them. Again, self-coloured thread, the green, hide your knot, and then we're going to slip stitch all the way around. To join the flipper to the foot. A little piece of the leg to the front through the flipper into the leg, into the flipper, and that's all the way around. And before we break off the thread, go through the foot to where it finishes and come out on the flipper. And what we're going to do is do a running back stitch to get the texture of the webbing. A running back stitch is a running stitch going forward and then coming back to fill in the gaps, so it looks the same on both sides. Because if you've ever noticed, when you're doing a back stitch, it's quite lumpy on the back because it's making 2 stitches on the back, going over the width of 2 stitches on the back, isn't it? So with a running back stitch, you're going to go back, but you're going into the spaces. So at the end of a running stitch, stitch there, and then into there to fill a gap, filling in the gaps. Of the running stitch. Okay, and then go back into the foot so we can't see where our thread is, and go into the center position for the next set. Mark it at the join there so you can kind of hide that you're going back in to lock it off. So repeat this, what you've just done, onto the second leg, and I'll join you when I've done that in stuffing the body and putting his arms and legs on.